Munoz, who is the CEO of United, joining me in a United hangar. Pretty dramatic backdrop here. He and many members of the company just having rung the opening bell at the NASDAQ. I want to talk to you about your last quarter, which beat expectations. The stock went up. Of course, one of the things that you managed successfully was oil hedging. And so I'm curious now, as we continue to see costs really bounce around, what it looks like going forward. Are you going to be able to continue to raise fares enough and to hedge enough to offset those costs?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and thanks to Yahoo Finance. You guys are on a similar trajectory to what I think United is, and we did have a great third quarter. We don't actually hedge oil. What we were able to do is offset some of that cost with some pricing, and of course, a lot of our cost initiatives. And I think what we've guided to for the full year, this is a similar issue. It has been a massively increasing expense for us, but again, we've been able to offset it in those ways, and we do see that being able to go forward.
And what about in terms of your unit revenue, or your PRASM as it's called in the industry? Are you sticking to your fourth quarter forecast, and what is that looking like then going into 2019?
Yeah, so we have guided for the fourth quarter, and we have a range, and I think that's still where we're at. We have not spoken about 2019 yet. We want to see the market settle, and obviously we have great insight for the near term, but as you get further out, of course, it gets a little hazy for all of us from a forecast perspective. But we're seeing the market really hopping. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of people flying. We had our peak season this summer was the largest ever in the industry, and so it's nice to see a lot of folks flying and increasingly flying us.
And they're also flying further in one shot, right? You all are about to begin a haul from SFO to Tahiti, I believe, and we're seeing
today. I think it's
is it today? We're seeing more and more of these long haul flights. What does the profitability look like for those types of flights?
Well, listen, we are a for-profit business, so clearly we don't do this just for fun. Right. We test markets. I think one of the great things about our network and revenue team, United has always had this network that no one's been able to solve how to maximize its profitability and its reach, and I think this team is doing that. So we're trying Tahiti, we're doing Singapore, we've done Sydney from Houston and the West Coast as well. We're going from here, we're in New York, we're going to go to Prague, and we're going to go to Naples, the things we've announced, from Dulles to Tel Aviv. So we've got these wonderful aircraft that take us a lot of different places, and we have an increasing demand that people want to fly our product because of the things that we've done. Our Polaris product is probably one of the good drivers.
I also want to ask you about obviously you all have had some various PR crises in the past, and I'm curious how you shift from sort of crisis management to crisis prevention, and do you feel like that you have successfully done that?
Well, listen, it's a never-ending. We're always very cognizant of what can go wrong, and I think the incidents that we experienced some time ago really accelerated and solidified our customer-centric projects, and so we have done a host of things to ensure things like that can't happen again and won't happen again. But again, the journey towards satisfying our customers is a never-ending one, and so we continue to be very, very focused on that.
I just very quickly want to ask you about politics, which I know is a thorny issue, but United has jumped into that to some degree by ending discounts for NRA members, for example. This morning, the president talking about potentially ending birthright citizenship, although it is in the Constitution. It's unclear what power he has to do that. Where, as a CEO, do you stand politically, and what role do CEOs have to weigh in on politics in this day and age?
That's a difficult question, and it's a broad one with many interpretations and desires. I personally, my opinions that are mine, I make sure they're mine, and the opinions of the company. But I think part of our shared purpose at United is connecting people and uniting the world. And if you think of the real and tangible emotional value and visceral value of those words, you can imagine how we feel about anything that obstructs what has become a great country for people to grow up in. And so from that perspective, we're probably not real fans of that.